What is good, everybody? This is Derek with Campers Union, and this is the video that so many of you have been waiting for, the all-new Purple Line Spartan trailer. Let's check it out. All right, so I wanted to do a true first impression video, so I brought some friends in. This is my buddy Bobby, and this is Adam with Go Carolina Wild.
What's going on, guys?
I got it right this time.
Yeah.
So we're gonna just do a walk around, and this is a true kind of first impressions video. We've towed it around a little bit. We've just kind of stopped at this really nice spot, and we're just gonna kind of talk about it a little bit, point some things out, and get these guys' impressions. So that's it. What's kind of your first impressions? What do you think? What's the first thing that pops out to you?
Love the size. The size is what's key for off-road.
Yeah. It's, you know, it's really cool is it's got a great footprint and it's very tanky, but it's actually not as like wide or big as I thought it would be. It's like kind of the perfect
trail size.
Trail size. That's exactly right. Yeah. What do you think?
I think just given its size and the amount of storage that it has is something that's key for us when we go out, just because we don't want all of our stuff inside the Jeep.
Right.
Because we have 2 kids in the back. We need storage.
Yeah.
So when first thing I see all of these little places to put everything that you need.
I think that's a big thing right now, and what a lot of people are transitioning to is, you know, it's nice to have a really well-built overland rig, but, you know, as you guys know, by the time you get your tent on it, your awning, your refrigerator, everything kind of built in, you know, it sucks then trying to go trail with it. So you've got this, do we wheel or are we only camping option?
Exactly.
And that's where these come in kind of perfect, because you can literally build this as your base camp, have everything set up ready to go, drop it, go wheel, come back, and not have to kind of reset everything up. And that's why I think these are getting more popular for sure. So, you know, even looking around, like you said, storage, all of the different compartments and spaces it has, I think are really well thought out. You know, there's plenty of storage drawers, lots of deep well space to it, pretty much a spot for everything, which you don't find often. And usually you're kind of sacrificing size or storage space for convenience and towability.
Yeah, that's what I've seen, definitely.
I think this is kind of the best of both worlds in it, honestly.
Lots of pass-through storage, which is nice.
Yeah, longer gear, things like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's the other thing too. You talk about storage. One of the surprising things to me is how much room you have between the deck and the rack on here. There's tons of options. Whether you wanted to put, you know, fishing poles, there's enough room for 2 kayaks. It's wide enough for 2 different kayaks up there. Coolers, if you wanted to add extra coolers up there. There's just a ton of gear possibilities with this. Even if you have the rooftop tent on top, you've still got so much space here. So you've got your locking storage and then the extra storage up top, which again, kind of unique. You don't really see something like that. So you guys both have OP4s now.
Yep.
So you're both relatively experienced with the Opus product. How did you think this compared pulling this on the trail to pulling the OP4s you have?
I think this footprint is a lot smaller for the trail systems in North Carolina, at least. We have a lot of wooded areas that you have to go down through. It's a lot tighter than when you go out west. So this footprint fits better on this side of the United States. Well,
and it's funny too, because most of the footage and things we get, and people generally look at the overlanding stuff of, you know, Moab, Baja, a lot of out west, the Rockies, you know, going out to these trails. Some of the tighter trails we have here, it's great to have a lot of the articulation, the flex, you know, some of these newer campers are coming out with, the Timbrins do okay. These suspensions, the Cruise Master style suspensions, the A-frame suspensions obviously do much better. Right. But you got to have something a little more nimble on the tighter East Coast trails. Yes. You know, when we're at URA and things, you don't have the wide berth you do at Moab where you've got the entire desert to play with. So having something that is nimble and agile and still has the flex and rotation that you need is definitely key. And what's cool with this too, you know, when we take this out to URA, we'll do some more testing with it, but we don't have to kind of stay at the base. We can go to, you know, top of Daniel and stop there if we wanted to. And this is going to follow us the entire way, which is why I really like a base camp system now versus, you know, some of the other trailer or RV options out there.
Yeah, getting the OP4 up there is not doable compared to this, I wouldn't think.
Yeah.
My initial reaction was the tongue weight. This versus the OP4 is substantial. With the Jeep Gladiator, I sink what? Even you have the same issue. We sink maybe 3 or 4 inches in the back. So we're squatting a lot. With this, I didn't see that near as much as I did in the OP4.
Yeah, the balance on this trailer is definitely great. I think, you know, the placement of the water tank is a little disappointing, but for the size of the trailer, I get it, you know. And most of the time, we're not really towing with a full water tank anyway. I'll probably fill it right before we get there, so it's not as much of a difference. Now, I'm usually pulling with my truck, which obviously full size, I don't really have towing issues, but I can definitely see it. And for the 4Runner guys, for the FJ guys, you know, the Rubicon guys, this will be something that is definitely much more balanced for you guys to pull. Even with, you know, obviously this one is kind of a naked setup. You'd have a nice 270 awning and a nice tent, things like that on top of it. Even with that, I still think it's going to be hitch weight and total weight wise much lighter and easier to kind of pull wherever you guys need to go.
What is the dry weight of the unit without the rooftop tent, without the water?
Yeah, so I think it's right at like 2210 dry.
Okay. Versus the OP4 weighs about...
God, the dry weight on the OP4,
like 3,000 and some change.
I think it's right around 3,000. Yeah. So you've got about 100 pounds lighter in hitch weight on this too than the OP4, if I'm not mistaken. Which is, again, that's what you're going to feel. I mean, and when you're looking at your balance of your rig, especially if you're already rocking a rack on yours or molly panels, some gear, a fully loaded bed on the Gladiator, things like that, hitch weight and tow capacity is all going to be very prevalent when you're looking at pulling on a trail for sure. You guys have experience with it too, and actually you've got an older OP4, so you've got the lock and roll. How did you feel with the DO35 versus the lock and roll?
I feel like what's the word?
More comfortable with the DO35.
I feel like there's better articulation with this versus what I have on the OP4.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell just because we haven't gotten into those situations.
I say quick first impressions. I think the biggest thing I feel that's different on the lock and roll versus the DO35, with all of the articulation actually in the assembly for the DO35, you don't really feel that tug on the hitch that you do with like the max coupler or the lock and roll. So it does feel a little more confident, and you feel like you've got more of a connection with it, which is really nice. The fact that a lot of new trailers, if not all of them, are coming with articulating hitches is, I mean, a step forward to begin with, but I don't think there's much better than the DO35. It does everything you could possibly ever want it to do and doesn't fail, you know, in doing it, which is nice.
First impression on hooking it up is a lot easier than the lock and roll hitch.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Off the bat.
I will say.
Well, the DO35 you can kind of hit from any angle.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to be directly onto it. You're just in the general ballpark.
Right.
The lock and roll, you do have to definitely be in the right spot for it. And yes, we've been on the trail before where, you know, with the max coupler and the lock and roll, trying to line them up just right when you're on, you know, rocky terrain or trails. The DO35, none of that. You don't have to worry about it too. And then the ARC 750 obviously is a staple. You guys are going to have those on your OP4s as well.
It's got great adjustment height for no matter how tall your vehicle is too.
Yeah.
Which is what helps.
Well, and not only that too, I mean, how many times have you had to move just a little bit on a campsite and you don't want to hook back up to it, especially again, if you've got like a lock and roll where you got to line up perfect. Being able to just kind of drop it and shift it and actually move on a trail, on rock, on gravel, on anything like that, that to me is worth it, you know, in and of itself, for sure.
For sure.
So looking up to, you've got the nice big front rack. I think they did a great job with this. It's super solid. I like that you mentioned this earlier, that the propane is contained.
Yes.
It's not just kind of an open
cylinder. That's really nice to see that the propane can actually be enclosed.
And I like that they put, so you've got your jerry cans on this side, the propane on this side, and then you've got a sealed locked container up front, which is awesome. I mean, that's again with more storage. But having a nice waterproof sealed container up front is pretty clutch for sure.
What I like about having this room though is I get to put my generators up here in case I ever need to take extra power.
Yeah.
Generator, diesel heater.
Anything.
Well, and you know, we've kind of said this before with the Opus, in that sometimes you're sacrificing things like a generator, things like that, because it doesn't have quite enough room with the jerry can. And it's nice you've got two, it's nice you've got dual propane on a lot of the OP4s, OP2s, but not having that front storage is kind of a bummer.
Yep.
Whereas this leaves you, you know, some good options, which is great.
Let's get all back here. What we got here?
Yeah.
You're good.
So one thing that we noticed, obviously opening it up, is all the stuff that the Spartan's going to come with. This was kind of a surprise, happy little surprise. It's always good to have, you know, good tunes on the
absolutely.
little JBL. I think it's good, and it's kind of become pretty standard that most of the new trailers are going to come with some sort of audio, you know. But it also comes with, you know, your DO35 spike hitch, which is going to be great. Obviously, you need that. Your wedges, all of your adjustments, your power cable, all kind of the basic things.
That's for your jacks, right?
Yep, that's going to be your stabilizer adjustments.
Sweet.
Which the drill chat. And for some reason, I don't know why it's a thing, I've seen companies start charging for a drill attachment, and I don't. It should just be a standard option. I like that it comes with this, and that's a kind of a cool feature. Little extra light. You've got your support for the table over there, which we'll kind of flip around and get to.
That's a full pass-through, right?
And it is, yeah. So full pass-through all the way to the side, so you've got plenty of wide room there. That's actually the first time that's a perfect spot for like the longer chairs, hammocks, stuff like that we're finding more and more on campsites. It's actually long enough you can slide them all the way in and not be kind of restricted or have to keep them up here. And
you've also got those big tent lights now, right? Like the big lights that you can stand up on a tripod.
Devos?
The Devos, the Devos would fit in there perfectly, things like that. Yeah, absolutely. So lots of stuff. I mean, you know, we'll kind of talk about the price point, but this just, again, kind of builds on it. There's not really a trailer this equipped with this much stuff that comes with it in this price point that these are,
Because, I mean, what do you compare this to? More like your Turtleback?
Yeah, so, I mean, I think in the realm of, you know, what this is going to suit is going to be your Turtlebacks. You've got your Taxa Woolly Bear. That's kind of a stripped down version. And then you've got your kind of higher up stuff. You're going to get into more of your Patriots and things like that, but you're looking at 3 times the price for, you know, essentially a very similar trailer. You know, are there certain things on, you know, a Turtleback that are going to be a little bit nicer quality or a little bit heavier duty? Sure, for sure. But again, we're talking about double the price.
Yeah, I was gonna say their base starting is like 30 grand.
Yeah, so we're going to be a big jump from there.
Nice little storage pockets. I like it.
What is the overall length of the Spartan?
You know, actually, I don't know. We haven't done the full measurements on it yet. Definitely under 20. I'm thinking it's probably right in the 12 to 14 range.
Yeah, I'm looking at it from the size of your truck.
I'm probably tip to tail. We're looking at something like a 12 to 14 range, which, again, kind of perfect.
Yeah, a perfect size.
All the stuff inside looks like they've got different individual fan switches, which is nice for each compartment. A pass through so you can get to the main compartment, it looks like. All the shelves have a felt type liner on them.
You know, and one of the other nice things too, you know, like a full nylon hose right here.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just the little cheap kind of crinkle hose for your water fill. It's got the full nylon hose with the nice hose clamp there, not just the little worm clamp. Little touches like that are things, again, I wouldn't expect to see on a trailer in this price range.
Yeah. And it feels like these are all like good sealed compartments also.
Yeah.
Now
nice thick heavy seals on them.
Yeah.
You were showing the water hose. I see the water tank here.
Yep.
How many gallons does that hold exactly?
21.
21 gallons.
Yep. It's a 21 gallon tank.
And that's for fresh water?
Yep. Yep, that's going to be your freshwater tank. So that's got a full supply with a pump right now that goes to the kitchen, which is going to be great. You know, one thing I would like to see as an addition on these would be, and we talked about this a little earlier, would be a water out port. So you can kind of do either a hot water, like a hot water in, cold water out. So if we had like a nice Julka setup or, you know, a Kakadu or something like that, that we can get it all set up and be able to utilize the tank a little better. And I've talked to them a little bit, and they know that's definitely something that would be worthwhile, and they're definitely looking at it for sure.
Well, I know we keep comparing it to the OP series stuff, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what we obviously have, and that's what we enjoy. But you know, the quick outlets, like what you're talking about, those little hookups.
Yeah.
If you had one for your regular water.
Yeah.
Because on ours we have the instant hot water heater, just pipe it right in.
Right, and the OP4s come with the hot taps, and I think you could with the Molly panels they've added here, you could have one of the permanent mounted ones to just lock it in, or one of the cases, and it fits perfectly right there.
Yeah.
And then the way this is set up too, it's kind of actually, we were talking about it last night. If you had the nice tent or a fold over, you've basically built yourself a nice little annex right here with a water attachment. You can have your shower right underneath your tent and be good to go. Yeah. There's a lot of cool options out there for building something like that.
Well, I mean, you jumped ahead to the Molly panels. You know, what's nice is it does give you an option to do basically anything you want.
Yeah.
Everything now is done.
I say everything comes in Molly. Yeah. It's definitely become more of a standard option, which is awesome. You know, it's great to fabricate off of. It's easy to, you know, basically bolt whatever you want to it. I know at CU we've done a lot of really cool modifications, whether it's for, you know, camping equipment or tools. The Julka hot taps, another one we've done. But it does give you the opportunity, and that's what I think. Kind of going back to it, this is your base point base camp, and that's it's like the base Lego set. There's tons of other Legos you can add onto it, but this is going to be one of the best options for a base build-up for you, for sure.
Yeah, I know, because when I went to the Overland events, there's not a lot of them like this.
Yeah.
You get, when you show up, you see the turtlebacks, you see the woolly mammoth, I think that you were talking
woolly
about.
Bear.
The woolly bear.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen all of those, and right off the bat, you're like, man, that is awesome. But when you start looking at the price, you're like, right out of the gate, you're already spending a ton of money on a base camp that's just almost out of the realm of where you want to be.
Right, right.
To start, at least, in the Overland.
Well, and, you know, a lot of it comes down to features, you know, so the equipment that's going to come on the Turtleback, you're going to get a larger inverter. You're going to get the red arc system, things like that. This doesn't have that. You know, it's not something that's standard on here. You do get the lithium battery standard, so it's going to have a 130 amp hour lithium, which is nice, and you get a nice control system for it. Your basic surround lights
for weeks with a setup like this.
Yeah. Oh yeah, easily. Well, and then you can always expand upon it too. Again, this goes back to the Lego system in that you can add whatever you want to this. If you wanted to add a better solar setup, if you want to add more battery life to it, if you're looking to add, you know, a bigger water tank, things like that, these are all going to be things that are available and easy to build off of this platform, where you're not so pigeonholed into spending too much up front.
Right.
Which is, again, kind of what we do at CU. It's what we really like, is taking a good base, but then, you know, having carte blanche to really build it for you.
The options you're looking for.
Yeah, because not every, you know, there are certain things that are going to be standard. You're going to want a water tank, cool. You're going to want a place for a fridge, cool. But after that, you know, people want different things. We've built similar trailers for a lot of guys that do like surf fishing, and they want a place for their fishing poles and rack. This gives us the opportunity to do that. Yeah. If we wanted to do a true off-grid where we added, you know, maybe some MC4 connectors and some external panels, you know, 300 amp hours of battery, portable AC, all of that's possible, and you're still within a good price range of what's affordable, which is really cool.
Well, they've done really well giving you options for attachments. Obviously, they're planning on something down the road so you can tap into the frame here.
Yeah, yeah.
Yourself some extensions and stuff, which is nice.
Let's talk about the kitchen a little bit as we kind of move around the nice fridge slide here. I'll close this up to give us a better view. So, you know, we mentioned you guys have the OP4s. Obviously, Opus has one of the best kitchens. The OP4, the OP15, 17, 2, they all have this awesome cast iron quad burner. This isn't that. But I think it's pretty damn good for the size.
Yeah.
I mean, what are you guys' first impressions on it?
A 2-burner on this? Absolutely. I don't think you need any. See that right there?
I love the
That's
extension.
a game
Love the
changer.
extension with, done this full off?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then you've got another drawer right here, a little prep table. I love cooking on the Opus kitchen and having the room, but this is definitely doable for sure.
The main differences I see is there's no splash guard and it's not 4 burners, but everything else looks amazing. I don't think you would need anything more than this.
No, I think this is perfect for what it is. Yeah. Absolutely.
Love the built-in light, of course.
That's what I love about them. Yes. So I had a camper right before I got my OP4 that had a kitchen in the back, not like this. This, for this size, I think is perfect.
Yeah.
It's definitely something that would make your overlanding or even camping in your backyard fun.
Well, and the OP4 is obviously geared towards, 4 to 6 people, is going to be more of a family camper. You've got a lot more options to bring more people with you. This is definitely, more of a 2-person setup, but you don't really need more than this. I mean, this is going to get it done for sure.
Well, even if you had your buddies that were traveling just in their vehicles and tents, you could pop this up and you can still cook a pretty big meal for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is nice.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like I said, I was impressed with the size on that for sure.
And then I see how it's already prepped for an awning, because I know people don't want to cook or do anything in the rain.
Yeah,
but that's
as I said, a 270 on this, killer. Yeah, absolutely killer.
Yeah, you underneath the cover the whole time.
Yep.
And then rolls right in, nice and smooth.
Got your gas hookup or propane hookup?
Yep, your quick connect right there. You've got your 12-volt source right here. You've got a second spot. This one's kind of hidden. It does actually come with a second light. So the light has a clamp you can kind of put anywhere over here, run your cable down, and then you've got a full light source on there.
This is from Purple Line, right?
Yeah.
So I wonder if Purple Line would end up making lights that connect into it like they did for the OPs.
Yeah.
For the annexes.
Yeah.
Because that's the same kind of setup, which is kind of nice. And
like I said, you've got the lithium built in here, so there's a ton of different options, especially with the 12-volt source. Yeah. A lot of guys, what I've seen too, like the new 23.0 Pro awning has all the lights built into the arms, and then it's just got a USB port.
Okay.
So you just grab a USB adapter for your 12-volt, plug it right in, and you've got all your light source fully built in. And on a 130 amp hour lithium, LEDs don't have any drain to them, so that'll last forever, which is great.
So question, you had mentioned something about the water pump and all earlier. Where is that located?
So super easy. It's nice, easily accessible. So you've got your secondary storage above it right here. Kind of show that off a little bit. And then there's a killer access panel right here. Little magnetic cover, pops right off. And then you've got your full water source right there.
It's easy to get into.
Yeah.
That's nice. Got your fire extinguisher in there already too?
Yep, all loaded up. That's kind of what the theme of this trailer ends up being. I get this back on here. There we go. Everything's very ergonomic. It's kind of right where it should be. It's easy to get to. It's, and in the right spot is kind of where everything is. Nothing seems out of place or seems to be in kind of a wonky position. Your control panel is right through here as well.
I wasn't thinking about it earlier, but the steps.
Yeah.
All these side steps are really nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Walkable fenders. Yeah. So standable fenders, standable steps, all this super solid right here. Yeah. Easy to get up and down off a rack. So if you're not putting a rooftop tent up there, you've just got a rack system, snowboard, skis, whatever you're towing with you. It's awesome.
I know with kitchens and cooking, that one of the biggest things my wife loves to do when we go out, and that amount of storage in there, that's huge.
Yeah.
To be it's like a full pantry.
Yeah.
That's your full pass-through right there for sure.
That's key.
And then you've got your full control panel here, your water tank, all your switches, your fridge, your sockets, your lights, your water pump, all easily accessible.
Oh, is that the battery in here with your breakers and
stuff? Yep. So your battery's right in there, breakers all set up, charger's all right there. Everything's kind of good to go.
It's perfect.
Yeah, like I said, it's for the money. I don't know of another camper on the market right now that competes in this realm that I would buy.
Yeah.
I really think this, a little bit of tweaking here and there, nice tent, nice awning, a couple improvements, which are all, again, pretty personal, but easy to do. And this thing is money.
Do they all come with a full-size spare?
Yep. You're all going to get the full-size spare up front. So
that's just like a base option already?
Yeah. Everything you see here is as it comes. This is directly off the truck standard. Normally with CU, we'd be upfitting this a decent amount, doing a whole lot of things to it. But I wanted to get kind of, like I said, your true first impressions of this is how it comes baseline. all the options you have from there. So some upgrades. Let's talk about upgrades. Let's talk about some things you don't see that you would like to see on there. I know we've already kind of mentioned the water ports. You know, one other thing we pointed out, I think it's an easy add, but front stabilizers. Right now it's got the rear stabilizers, which is great, and the front arc jack, but I think it could use your left and right front stabilizers.
Yeah, as you get into those predicaments off camber somewhere, it'd be nice to have the other two in the front, not just the one in the front.
Well, and again, with a nice rooftop tent up here, this is actually, I mean, relatively high. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm kind of just under 6 foot, and it's well above me right here. So by the time you're putting a tent on top of that, that's some pretty good leverage moving back and forth. Having that front stabilizer on there, I think, especially if you're looking at a 3 or 4 person tent, you've got the kids up there, having that stability would be nice. An easy add, but you know, something worth thinking about. Sure. We talked about the water tank adds, or the water connections would be a nice add. Other than that, you know, maybe some nice rock lights just for some camp lighting. But like I said, most of the new awnings come with a lot of that built in. So really, I don't.
But still all doable. If you wanted to add something simple to it, you could.
Yeah.
What I did like about on the other side is you've already got a cutout so you can get into the main cavity of the trailer, which is nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Everything is just super accessible. It's solid. It's built well. You know, I know a lot of people were going to be skeptical as far as the build quality for this price range. You know, especially when you're used to seeing these $40,000, $50,000 kind of base camp trailers.
I mean, it's pretty solid. Even the top. So I was noticing when I was looking inside, you can still drill through the top if you wanted to and mount something hard to the surface.
Yeah, no, you've got solid deck up there.
Yeah. Just obviously seal it when you do it, but yeah. It's very nice.
Yeah, I think as far as value for the money, you know, very hard pressed to find something that competes for sure.
What is the storage up here for?
So you've got dual jerry can storage up front, your center sealed container, and then your propane container on the other side we were looking at.
Man, that's a big sealed container.
Yeah, tons of room in there.
Put, you know, 2 solid bags in there, easy.
I just don't know really to say what it's missing. Like I said, you know, for the adventure trailers in this realm, I don't know that there's anything that it doesn't have that I would expect it to have standard, other than maybe, like I said, the stabilizers and the water ports.
Well, I know you're standing there. Do all the base trailers come hooked up for 12 volt?
Yeah, so you're going to get the Anderson connection, and so it's pre-wired for a DC to DC setup. It doesn't have the DC to DC controller, but the wires are run there, which is really nice. It's an easy add-on. That's definitely something that we've been doing a lot more often lately. Is, you know, I think energy comes up a lot, and with all the really good lithium options that are out there now, and how affordable lithium's getting, and solar panels, things like that, it's definitely become a bigger topic for us and a lot of our customers, because anytime you can stay out longer and have to worry about less is always a, you know, good peace of mind. So
I did see there is a solar connection port.
Yeah, it's going to have a standard SAE plug on it. Okay. Yeah, so you can do a small panel on it there, and again, it's super easy to upgrade to like some MC4s. Put a 400 watt panel on here. You know, I personally prefer the briefcase panels. I like having a 40-foot lead that I can run out. Maybe we're parking in the shade and not having to park directly in the sun. So then you can kind of move it around camp too. You can follow the sun a little bit. Make sure you're capturing as much energy as you can.
You sell all those at Campers Union, don't you?
Yeah, we do. 100%. Yeah. Yep, those are very, very common upgrades we make on a consistent basis. So,
but you go back to it again. The base model of this adventure trailer is basically set up ready for you to do anything you want.
Other than, of course, you're getting your tent.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's the only thing I could see that.
But the base is there. Yeah, the tent, the awning is there. You set those on.
What kind of tent?
Exactly.
Yeah. Either and I mean, you want the clam or the other.
Realistically, for under about 26 grand, you've got everything you want. I mean, even the front stabilizers, the water ports, the tent, the awning, you know, relatively, I'm not gonna say maxed out, because you can always go kind of crazy with it, but for a true let's go right now setup, you know, 25, 26 grand and you're golden.
Yeah. So the Spartan it is, it sounds like, guys.
Yeah, yeah. The Spartan definitely wins, for sure.
That's like a heavy-duty seal in this compartment.
That's another thing, how heavy-duty these clamps are. That's just great.
You can feel it lock and pull that
Yes,
seal nice and tight, which is really cool.
It'd be nice to get it down a dirt road just to see what it has inside, if it has anything.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Well, we'll get some trail time in on it. We'll get some more, a little more towing on them, and then we'll kind of come back and do some final thoughts on it.
And you can also hook up 30 amp, right?
Yep, it's a full 30 amp capable.
Sweet.
Amazing.
Cool. We'll check back with it. All right, so final thoughts on the camper. Let's kind of go, piece by piece here. Capability. I don't think there's really a trail you're going to find that you would bring a trailer on that this isn't going to take.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't feel bad about this being on the trails.
No.
With these fenders.
Yeah,
And the size.
even on the East Coast trails,
Yeah.
squeezing through, it's going to hold up. So I think capability-wise, it's going to be peak. Which, performance, kind of in the same thing as capability. I can tell you, I've towed this for a couple 100 miles, even highway and stuff now. I don't even feel it. It's so stable behind you. It's easy to forget, honestly. So, performance, capability-wise, I think it's a win. There's nothing I could possibly want extra on it. Price.
I think it's great.
Yeah, we've kind of said it multiple times in the video, but I don't think there's anything on the market right now that really nails it like this one does.
No.
Obviously, economics are a big thought right now for everyone. Everyone's looking to get the most value for their money if they're going to spend it. And, again, I don't think there's a better buy for your money on this. So looking at the value proposition of it, I think it's great. I think it really hits all the marks.
I definitely think you're getting everything you would need on the trails. Of course, other than a stabilizer, if you're, leaving and going to go do a trail without it. But other than that, I don't see anything on here that I would be like, oh, it needs this or it needs that. No, it's got it.
Yeah, straight off the trailer, delivered right as it is. There is no have to haves. It's going to be fully capable. There are some life improvements that can be made to it, which I think is an acceptable range. And again, for the price, given the competition, I don't know that I expect those things at all. There's no expectation of it. I think it would just be a little bit of a bonus to have the few things we've kind of talked about. So yeah, again, value-wise, I think it's absolutely solid. Now, one thing we haven't really talked about, but I think is kind of one of the forefronts, looks. I think styles-wise, it nails
amazing.
it. Yeah, this thing looks tough, man. The driver was actually telling me he stopped for gas, obviously multiple times coming from California, and every time he stopped, everyone kept asking if they were military. That's kind of awesome.
That's a great look to have, for sure.
For if you don't know, anything that looks military tough is a win in my book, for sure.
Well, all right, you brought up something. Is this the only color?
It is right now. So this is part of the first run.
Okay.
As of right now, I don't know that there are any plans for different colors or different things like that. But with how well I believe this is going to sell, who knows what happens in the future, for sure. But I think the color combination is nice. It's not, you've got the black fenders, you've got like the dark gunmetal. There's not much it doesn't match. I'm always a fan of orange, obviously. But I can dig the loudness of it. But I think this is a good balance between, it doesn't really matter what you're towing with. It's probably going to look pretty good behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, cool. So overall, all things positive.
Yeah, I get 2 thumbs up.
I give it a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, As we've talked about here, we've done the full review on everything. If you guys have any questions, feel free to give us a call. You can always check them out at campersunion.com. And as of right now, we've got 3 in stock, but they're not going to last. So check them out while you can, and hopefully we'll have more in the future.